deer is so, it looks like a statue, right? Isn't that true? Like sometimes you look at a deer, you're not even sure it's alive. It's so solid. And deer have this amazing ability to stand motionless still and for a long time. I mean, sometimes half hour or longer, I've seen them stand motionless, barely even blinking. And of course, this is a survival technique, but they have to be incredibly relaxed to stand in this manner and to hold a position. Sometimes they might even have, you know, like one leg up in the air or something. So a lot of the games that we play as children, we imitate this stuff where we, you know, freeze and we have to stand still. And if we move, you know, you're it or something like that. And these are type of awareness games outdoors that you can play them indoors too, but outside there's other elements. There's wind, there's noises, distractions, and it makes you learn to focus and be relaxed and very still and aware. I'll go ahead and stop sharing that. Okay, back.
Back. Okay, so they have this capacity for stillness, and then they have this capacity for movement. You want to talk a little bit about how the deer's movement relates to our work?
Yeah, so that photo, it probably still fresh in your mind with their feet on the ground. The deer have to rely on their legs, and we're a standing species ourselves. We stand a lot, and the deer have to be extremely well organized for everything they do is standing from birth. And so this ability to be organized, to connect to the ground is something that deer do very well, or they die. And so I've taken that and looked at, okay, how are we connected to the ground? Because the more grounded we are, the more relaxed we are. So that's the next picture I want to show you here. Same area, but check out this deer. This deer is so relaxed and grazing. I was able to get a shot of that. And they're so grounded, they know by their hearing and their sensing, their hair on their body, their feet can feel vibration. They know if there's any danger from a long ways away, and they can stay relaxed and feed. And this is something like we are so not connected to in our culture anymore, as far as like eating and being relaxed, you know, or when the tiger's in the room. Like we don't seem to resonate what's really something that should be stressful and what's not. And deer are constantly needing to be on guard for predators, but they also can quickly relax, and partly they're so well grounded through their legs. So that's another thing I just amazed with, how they can be stressed, something can attack them, and then minutes later they can relax and start feeding again.
Yeah, that's a capacity I think that we struggle with in our contemporary society, because there's so many things coming at us. We're like constantly on yellow alert, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you, develop the style? I mean, I'm hoping that we get to experience a little bit of Feldenkrais.
Absolutely.
A la Annie Thoe. That, what was the process? Can you talk a little bit about the process? Yeah. I mean, I know that you grew up with nature and you've been doing Feldenkrais for a really long time. So how did it kind of come together for you?
Yeah, it's amazing how closely they go together, because Feldenkrais talks so much about survival and what you need in order to survive. And as a kid, I was always very curious, could I survive with like just a knife and like go out in the woods and survive? I was always curious about that. Mm-hmm. and afraid like that I wouldn't be able to survive. And so that was kind of nagging at me. And oddly enough, I was hearing it from Moshe in his tapes from the Amherst training. And at the same time, someone handed me the Tom Browne tracker book. Mm-hmm. He wrote, Tom Browne is a famous tracker who started a school in New Jersey. And one of his chief apprentices started the Wilderness Awareness School in Seattle. That's the guy that I mostly studied that school from. But I did study with Tom. And anyway, Tom Browne writes so much about surviving with just a knife. And I thought, I looked in the back of the book and I thought, this guy's still alive. I'm going to his training. So I that summer I went to a Tom Browne training. I was just totally hooked. And I did a whole bunch of his trainings. And then I went on to do the wilderness schools, everything they had, including their year-long program, their tracking program, and all that kind of stuff. So, and I did all those survival things with just the knife. And it was unbelievable how much I learned in such a short time period, whether it was an overnight or a 7-day survival trip. Unbelievable sense of confidence, of wisdom, of understanding conservation, understanding how to work with the body, all the things that Feldenkrais talks about, and it gets put to a test. So yeah, they dovetail so well together, and it really takes the awareness of inside the room, inside the Feldenkrais classroom, out into the outdoors.